Chapter 2: Media Heroes. Media has always been part of human history. Long before screens and smartphones, people told stories through cave paintings, letters, and newspapers. The tools have changed, but the goal has remained the same: connection. Humans want to share ideas, experiences, and pieces of themselves with others. In the last century, however, media stopped being something we occasionally consumed and became something that constantly surrounds us. The modern world hums with information, commercials, pop ups, notifications, billboards, and endless scrolling feeds, all competing for our attention. Information now travels faster than ever, but so does noise. The arrival of the internet in the late 1990s changed everything. Suddenly, the world felt smaller. Social platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube promised connection without distance, allowing people to communicate instantly across continents, meeting new friends, reconnecting with old ones, or even finding love no longer required leaving home. Relationships began forming through profiles, messages, and algorithms instead of shared physical spaces. Yet a strange paradox emerged. The more connected we became digitally, the more disconnected many people began to feel in real life. Checking someone's updates started to replace calling them. Watching stories replaced sharing our own moments face to face. Technology created the illusion of closeness while quietly increasing emotional distance. What once felt unusual, creating online profiles to meet strangers, quickly became normal. Millions now turn to dating apps to find relationships, reconnect with people from their past, or trace their family histories. Technology expanded our ability to connect, but it also reshaped what connection means. Media overload advertising has followed media every step of the way. When radios first entered homes, businesses realized they had discovered a direct line into people's lives. Television amplified that power, turning entertainment into a delivery system for persuasion. Today, advertising is everywhere. Screens glow in our pockets, signs tower over highways, and sponsored messages blend seamlessly into social feeds. Much of it relies on the same formula marketers discovered decades ago: grab attention quickly, appeal to desire, and keep consumers wanting more. Over time, the shock value faded. Images designed to provoke or excite became so common that they lost much of their impact. What once demanded attention now barely registers. Constant exposure doesn't just sell products, it reshapes expectations, desires, and even how we see ourselves. As a kid, commercials felt harmless. They were simply part of Saturday morning cartoons, a small interruption before the next show began. I never realized the real audience wasn't me, it was my parents. The message was simple: buy more, and your family will be happier. New toys, new cars, new things. Consumption was packaged as love. Children, in many ways, became the most effective marketing strategy ever created. Now, years later, the pattern is impossible to ignore. The message hasn't changed, only the volume has increased. Advertising feels louder, more constant, and more personal. Sometimes it seems like there's more marketing than actual content, which is one reason I rarely watch traditional television anymore. Smartphones push this transformation even further. With a device always in hand, the world is permanently accessible. We can check messages, scroll updates, and stay informed no matter where we are. It's convenient, powerful, and quietly isolating. Because if connection is always available, we begin to ask an uncomfortable question. If we can reach everyone virtually, do we still make the effort to truly be present with anyone at all? Kids can now spend hours alone in front of screens instead of gathering together to play. Maybe that's not so different from what we did as children, but at least we had to leave the house to find the experience. The journey itself was part of the adventure. What is a media hero? When I was young, like most kids, I had heroes, figures you wanted to emulate and believe in. For some people, those heroes were parents or teachers. For me, they lived in comic books and on television screens. Above all, there was Superman. Superman was unstoppable. Aside from kryptonite or maybe a bruised heart, he was invincible. He represented certainty in a world that felt simple and clear. Good existed, evil could be defeated, and heroes always showed up when they were needed. As we grow older, those heroes begin to change. Reality slowly replaces imagination. The larger-than-life figures who once felt untouchable start to look human. Professional wrestlers once felt like superheroes too. Hulk Hogan battling villains in the ring felt like a real fight between good and evil, until the day we learned wrestling was staged. Even after hearing the truth, part of me didn't want to believe it. Maybe someone had it wrong. Maybe the magic was still real. But eventually, the illusion faded. Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, and Macho Man were no longer mythic figures. They were just people playing roles. Another mystery explained away. Saturday morning cartoons filled that heroic space as well. He-Man, Transformers, and G.I. Joe convinced us someone stronger and braver was always out there protecting the world. I still miss waking up early just to catch those shows. By today's animation standards, they might seem crude, but back then, they were unforgettable. As adults, many of us transfer that same need for heroes onto public figures, celebrities, athletes, even politicians, only to watch them fall short of the expectations we placed on them. People promise perfection, and people inevitably fail. That's the difference between real life and childhood heroes. The superheroes of our youth never disappointed us. Superman never lied, never cheated, and never let us down. Whether they lived in comic books or flickered across television screens, those heroes felt completely real to us. And unlike today, there wasn't a new reboot or superhero movie arriving every month trying to recreate that feeling. Back then, the magic didn't come from constant reinvention. It came from believing